Blake, did you ever have spring cleaning growing up?
Toby, my mom insulted my vacuum cleaning skills so harshly, I still feel weird about it.
Welcome to the Church Gear Podcast, where we pull the tech out of the booth and onto the stage to share the most outlandish stories and hidden wisdom from the tech trenches. And now, here are your hosts.
I'm your host, Blake Hodges, a man who had to get a robo vacuum since my mom has told me I'm a trash vacuum cleaner. And I'm here with my co-host who took home gold in the Olympics for vacuum cleaning, Toby Walters. Toby, congratulations on your gold medal at the Olympics for vacuum cleaning.
Thank you. I do love to say that vacuuming is my favorite chore because there's like a power tool involved. It basically does all the work. So whereas I like to say, now granted, 90% of the actual chores at my house, I never touch because my wife is way too good to me.
Is that because you suck at those? So she lets you do the vacuum cleaning so you suck up all the other stuff?
I don't think she cares how badly I suck at cleaning toilets. She would love it if I did that, but I don't.
So how are you? What's your plan to stay married, Toby?
It's worked so far. I don't know what's going on, but I keep saying, babe, I do a lot of cleaning at work, so I need to rest when I get home. And she rolls her eyes and then she cleans the toilets.
Everyone, let's cancel Toby for being unwilling to clean at his house.
I do sometimes, and get a little vulnerable and disgusting here when I'm like, oh, dude, that's definitely my problem. I'll be like, I'll clean that up, babe.
Okay, well, we're glad to find some shame and decency in you.
Yeah. So it is spring now, Blake.
Yep. Well, when this episode's coming out, it might be almost summer.
It might almost be summer. Do you struggle with seasonal allergies at all in Nashville?
Brother, we never talked about this.
I'm sure we have.
I used to get the flu every year in seasonal allergies until I realized I need a daily antihistamine. I mean, literally would go to the doctor and they'd be like, you just have allergies. I'm like, I feel like I'm dying. It was as bad as COVID.
Yeah. And so I do as well get some seasonal allergies. They've gotten a lot better since I lived here.
Toby, yours aren't seasonal, brother. I feel like you have allergies 24/7, 365.
I'm allergic to you.
You're always, I'm saying this like feeling sympathy for you. I feel like you're always got something in your lungs.
I mean, there's something in there. That's for sure. So spring cleaning, we never did spring cleaning growing up. I felt like that was just in the movies or like an old TV thing. So we're, making the transition to talking about churches doing spring cleaning and just giving.
Toby's so desperate to get the transition.
Plea to churches to clean out your graveyards. Do you like how churches call their gear landing zone the graveyard?
Whoa. This analogy's bad, Toby. If they're cleaning out their graveyard, doesn't that mean we're the grave robbers?
I guess. No, we pay for the gear, so we're not robbers. We're the grave
buyers. We'd like to be the grave buyers of your church and buy your old used gear.
Will you dig up the dead bodies in your graveyard and we'll give you money for it?
Oh gosh. This is the most off the rails intro I've had in a while, but
it's fun how that works.
If you're doing your spring cleaning and Easter is past and Christmas is far away, this is prime opportunity to turn that closet into a pile of cash sometimes a big pile of cash.
So I love some of the stories of, all this stuff piles up and techs think I'll get to it someday. They have the best of intentions, but as we know, Sundays keep coming. So I feel horrible for the churches that they go through this, but I also kind of laugh. Like, how many churches have we seen? They had a PA that they took down and they're like, where are we going to put it? And so one church I think of, and they have one of the biggest PAs in America. They had to take it up to the third floor attic piece by piece. And so they said it's in 14 different storage closets in the third floor of the church. I'm like, really?
Well, I thought you were going to give the other one where they paid for a storage unit to store it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, don't pay money for this. We'll pay money for it and then you can be done.
Yeah. And then just this year I went to a massive church and they had done a PA total overhaul. And so they had taken it out and said, we're going to sell it ourselves. And hey, we applaud that. If you're going to be ingenuitive enough to sell it yourself, that's how you get the most money. We tell churches that all the time. But I visited them a year later.
Tale as old as time.
They said, yeah, we had 3 different offers this year that all fell through. And it's still sitting in a storage unit in our parking lot.
And it's worth less money now.
Yeah. And so we wrote them a $100,000 check.
What?
And I'm not exaggerating.
Toby, that's like what you pay me for one day of work here. What am I going to do for that day?
I know, exactly. And I swear he was like, thanks for the check. And Jen just started weeping tears of joy. It's like, it's gone. My space is
Did
back.
he really? Or are you being funny?
I'm just saying, you and I have asked this of many texts before. It's like, yeah, the check is great. The money back in our budget is great. But just that I have my space back, it's like the spring cleaning, man.
I've worked here for 6 years and it still blows my mind that this getting that space back, it's just like something released in you.
And there's the space in their mind back.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's weighing on their conscience because they know like this is gear that was given through grandma's tithe dollars. And now I've done something good with it and it's off my conscience.
Yes. And you know, Toby, you do so much spring cleaning all year round. Maybe that's how we redeem you. Maybe you can take that back to your wife and be like, I clean all the time for the church, babe.
Yes, I clean grandma's tithe dollars, okay?
Not money laundering, just cleaning it.
Just clarifying.
But someone that's great at both cleaning gear and cleaning money and money laundering is the central production at People's Church and Toby's spicy little Puerto Rican friend, Eduardo Rivera.
Wow.
I'm deceased.
That was great. So I feel like I need to give the context now on the spicy little Puerto Rican thing.
Yeah.
Is that a good place to start?
It probably is.
Great. Well, my name's Eduardo Rivera, People's Church, Oklahoma. That's where I'm at right now, what I'm doing. And my first day on staff, one of my first days on staff, in front of the all-staff chapel, my pastor introduced me to the entire staff as his spicy little Puerto Rican friend. And from that day forward, my name in many people's phones was Spicy, still to this day. So that's where that's coming from.
Okay, Spicy, is there something that inspired that? I would love to hear, like, are you a good hot take guy? Do you just love spicy food? Like you always get the 10 out of 10 at Buffalo Wild Wings? What's the deal?
Man, honestly, I don't even like spicy food. He just started like salsa dancing on stage a little bit and just calling me spicy little Puerto Rican. It was
great. Just racism. There's
it was a great time for me. I was like, yep, I'm in Oklahoma. I just moved from here, from Boston. And this is the welcome to Oklahoma. But no, it's been great. It's been a journey here. But yeah, I've been doing this for almost 9 years now here at People's Church.
And did you regret your decision to go to People's Church after that comment faster than you regretted your decision to be on this podcast?
No, not just kidding. No, neither one I've regretted. These are great decisions that I've made. I love Oklahoma. It's now my home. And man, don't regret being on this podcast. You guys are great.
You can plead the fifth at any moment if you need
to. And Blake, I feel like I need to say to our listening audience, if you're just listening in audio and you're missing this mustache, you need to check our social clips. You need to watch on YouTube.
The bike also. I mean, he's got a bike that's just hanging. It's not even rigged. It's just magic. He's got his spicy little magic.
People think that you exercise. You hang a bike behind you.
If that's all I had to do, I've really been missing the boat.
That's my strategy. Bike. That's my strategy to sit. Yep, just pretend like I exercise.
So that's the stuff that's in your literal background. Give us some of your actual production background. We know you said you've been doing this for 9 years. Just fill in the spaces there a little bit more.
Well, I was that kid that grew up in church. I grew up in a church in Connecticut that had a really big theater ministry out of all things, more than just like the Passion of the Christ type of stuff. We did Lost in Vegas, Pillars of Fire, other creative things. My first experience in the production world probably be 14 or 15 traveling with that. We'd go to places, churches in Ohio, Virginia. My childhood best friend did all the lighting programming at like 15, and I did all the hanging lights and running around doing things. So that was my first experience ever in production. And then God got a hold of my life later on in my high school years. Went to Bible college at 17, started doing the touring, traveling thing with ministries there, did that for 5 years. And then the Lord brought me to Oklahoma, where I've been for the past 8-9 years. And I originally came on staff as a worship pastor at one of our campuses, and then kind of transitioned to a central production role, worship production role space area during COVID with all the changes and everything going on. Led some initiatives there for infrastructure. And then I've kind of come back around to still leading some of the production stuff centrally, but then also now leading worship at our portable campus, which will become our broadcast campus, and being a worship and production pastor at that campus as well.
Toby, is this our first guest that's actively doing both worship and production? We've had a lot that were worship that turned into production. I don't remember any actively doing both.
I know most people aren't crazy enough to do both at the same time. But most people aren't as spicy as Eduardo either.
Yes.
So Blake, I got the pleasure of visiting People's Church maybe, I don't know, six-ish months ago. And so met Eduardo and the team, and they gave me a tour of their worship center, their production suite backstage. And he said, do you want to see any other areas of the church? We got some, production we do in like the kids area and the youth area. And so they walked me through. And then somebody mentioned like, well, you're going to show them the vents. I'm like, what? And so Blake, if you imagine any sort of industrious business, whatever, you have HVAC vents, and if they're exposed, they're not ducts like quack, quack. They're ducts with a T, and they're usually made of metal.
Got it. I'm imagining it, and I got my word picture here.
And so when you turn on the air conditioner, like you hear the whoosh, and then it's just quiet. But a decision was made apparently to value engineer that and save some money.
Oh, they Tobied it.
So instead of a metal duct, they had what amounts to a sock.
What?
And so you hear so he said, okay, we're going to turn this off, and then we're going to engage it, and then you can watch what happens.
Oh no.
And so you turn it on, you hear the whoop, and then you hear like thump, 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 as the sock is inflating through like the entire kids section down hallways and around. And then at the
this isn't hidden. This is like noticed.
Oh, it's so blatantly obvious. And yeah. So Eduardo, you can tell us a little more of the story. Apparently you can never turn this on during church, right?
No, you can never turn this on during church. It's definitely one of those decisions that if you talk to us, we'd be like, yeah, we probably may have done that differently in hindsight. But yeah, essentially in that area was our original build. So that was our original auditorium way back in the day. And yep, you would have to turn that on in the morning and then just leave it running. Otherwise, it just makes this big sound, and it just inflates, and it goes through all the kids' wings. Even we partitioned that auditorium and separated it to be more kids' classrooms. And there's just if you look up on the wall, there's a giant hole where that sock will inflate to. So, yep, probably in hindsight, we'll probably never do that again. But it's there. And, I talk to people around the city, let them know, hey, People's Church or whatever, in conversation things. And they'll bring that up most of the time.
How do we get a video?
Ever been in that venue.
How do we get a video of this sent to us? Because this sounds pretty funny. You're going to have to send that to us.
I'll need to find a video or film a video and send it to you guys. It's really hard to describe, but it's really hilarious when you see it in act. But you have to turn it on before an event or something like that and leave it running the entire time. Otherwise, you'll be in service and you'll just hear it, and then everyone will look up. And then the moment's gone. Yeah.
And Blake, if you get to the end of the ductwork, and which is it not in the lobby where like the kids get checked in?
It's in the original lobby space.
All right.
Yes.
We need to cut this off.
And you're going to be like, does that look like...
and that's enough. That's
like, yep, it sure does.
All right. We're already getting canceled. Let's move on.
All right, Eduardo, I want to pitch you. I feel like we've never really talked about this specifically on the podcast, which seems weird. I feel like excellence, the idea of excellence in worship and production, has become sort of a hot button issue. Like, you're not supposed to be perfect. We're not called to be perfect. But then other people say like, excellence. No, we need to do this for the Lord. So talk to us about how you guys kind of define that word at People's, and, how you actually carry it out in worship and production. Do you aim for excellence in what you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for us, this isn't a new definition. I've heard this a couple different places as well. But for us specifically here, it's doing the best with what you have. We can't compare ourselves to something, to other places that may have different equipment or different resources or different personnel or different things. For us, we really evaluate, what is this environment? Who do we have there? What are the pieces at play? And are we doing the best with what we currently have? Give you a little bit of context. We have 6 different campuses, and none of the campuses have the same equipment or the same look or the same thing. A lot of them are running even different personnel. And for all those 6 campuses, we have 2 technical staff and 2 pastoral staff on the production side of things. So we are heavily volunteer culture, where we're constantly discovering, developing, deploying leaders. And you have to take that into account in different venues and different places. Yeah, we have a standard sound, way we want things to look, feel. But at the end of the day, we're looking at the situation of each campus and everywhere we're at, and okay, are we doing the best with the resources that we have, with the personnel that we have there? Typically, if we're not hitting that level of quote unquote excellence, we can typically pinpoint it down to a developmental issue somewhere along the line, or a system issue or developmental issue, more than, a lack of gear or something like that. So for us, it really is just doing the best with what we have in the situations that we have currently.
And we'll take Life Church, for example. You guys are not far from them, and nothing against Life Church. They do things amazing, and they have a level of excellence that's just off the charts. And so do you guys feel like when people come to People's Church, you feel less than, or do you say, no, it's a different approach, and we still achieve, do you still achieve an environment where you feel like the Spirit is moving and people are able to worship because of what you have and what you do, even though it might not be Life Church level?
Yeah, no, I love Life Church. They're good friends of ours. Uncle Craig comes here every so often as well. No, I would say for us, we've done the big flashy thing in the past, all the lights, throw everything at it. And over the course of time, we've just walked some of that back. Just evaluating what's the cost of that, not only monetarily, but like time wise, personnel wise, skill wise, what do we need to develop too? And can we achieve this a different way? Are we still able to achieve an environment where people can encounter Christ? There's minimal distractions, and that everything that we're doing is additive to the experience of what the main thing is at the moment, which is people encountering Christ. So for us, I would say People's Church as our brand, as our identity. Man, you're never going to walk onto any of our campuses on Sunday without at least getting five high fives or handshakes, or people really getting into your world and asking more about you and trying to help you get plugged in. And that's our secret sauce, I would say, more than anything else. We're extremely outreach focused as well. So when it comes to our experience, we have a certain standard, certain level. Man, we want the lights a certain way. We want a general sound. As far as the music and the style that we do, we have a certain style. But within that, it's more of a target range from campus to campus than it is a specific. We're going for exactly that. We have 2 technical people across all 6 campuses. Some of our campuses don't even have anyone on staff on the production side of things at their campus on a Sunday. And I would say you would still walk in there and feel an environment of excellence of, hey, this is still People's Church. This is still the People's Church DNA. When I come in, I'm getting greeted by 5 people. Someone's helping me to the seat. Someone's walking me to the kids check-in. When I go into service, man, all our sets are for the most part the same. Stylistically, there's a little variation from campus to campus between personnel and personnel. But it's still the same feel of People's Church. We're vocal heavy, a little bit more vocal heavy. We do every genre, and that would be our secret sauce. I would say is just our people thing. So excellence, I would say, I've definitely heard, and even I think in the past here at People's Church, we've used it a different way. But over the course of time, I think, just looking at the unique situation of who are we, what is our identity, what is our branding, and what are the things that we're not going to compromise on, and how we can achieve that. And so with that, we look at how can we set up systems to be repeatable across campuses, even with different equipment, different personnel, things like that, so that we can have a excellent, quote unquote, environment. So that's kind of how we quantify that. And we don't really, I wouldn't say we necessarily compare ourselves. There's plenty of other great churches here in Oklahoma City as well that are doing amazing things on the production front. Life Church, you named it. There's North Church down the street, and there's a couple other ones here in even just Oklahoma in general. And we're great friends with them. We love them. Nothing against that, but that's not who we are as People's Church. So we're not going to strive to be that, and that's not going to be our standard of excellence. So yeah.
And I know for Life Church and other churches like that, they'll make an equipment decision and be very intentional, and they will invest in the equipment. And other churches might say, yes, we could invest in that, but we're going to make work what we have for the time being, or ongoing. What are some of those, specific things that over the last few years you guys have just made work because it's just, you're not ready yet, or it's not time yet to invest in something new? Like, how are you getting, what equipment are you're making the best with, even though it's not maybe what you would love to have if budget was no option?
Yeah. Well, I'd kind of say this. We were actually 720p on our streaming and going to campuses until like 3 years ago. To put it in context, like we were running some old JVC broadcast cameras until they absolutely were like, pull me out, coach. And we finally made the move to kind of improve that from before that. And a year before that, we were still running an M7. And I think to give us a little bit more extra time, we bought one of your guys' M7s just to have as a spare, as a backup in case something went down before we made our shift to, a Rivage console or something like that. So, man, we really stretch our dollars and we really stretch our equipment to end of life and even a little bit beyond that in some cases. Because at the same time, man, we look at our budgets as a whole and it's like, man, we're extremely outreach focused. Production is important. Worship is important. It's not that one is less than, but we want to keep a bulk of our budget going toward X, Y, and Z. So therefore, on the production side of stuff, we're extremely frugal with what we have. And then just making those decisions of, man, what are we going to upgrade to? What are we going to purchase? Where are we going to put our dollars to? As we start to see around the corner, end of life is imminent. Let's start thinking about where we want to be in the next 5-10 years. Where is the landscape going with the production stuff? What do we want to have the capabilities to do? And then we start making those decisions there internally with leadership and all their thoughts as well. But man, we really stretch things. Like we're still running an old Rankus Heinz, I think that's a brand, system at our main campus. You asked the box, what were the boxes there the other day when we were there? And I was like, I can't remember. But we definitely need to do that here soon. Some of our campuses, we're still running SC48s. They're still kicking there, still living. Yeah. And then some campuses we're running TF5. Like it's just where we are at the moment, and kind of looking at the landscape of, man, what are how far our dollars going to go if we invest in this? So we're constantly reevaluating that and looking at that. And then the backdrop, we have a new campus that we're building. And then another campus that we're remodeling in Indianapolis. So there's two giant projects right there, and we're still going, you know what? We still think our Rankus Heinz system here is going to hold out long enough. Let's do this and that to prepare ourselves. But man, we're going to be really good stewards of what we have and really use it to the max potential that we can use it from. So,
yeah, and you talked about 720p cameras, Blake. That's what people were running in, late 90s, early 2000s before HD became a thing. So a lot of churches had invested already in 4K or red cameras, going to the cinematic route. What's the vision even still from your leadership as far as how we're going to approach the live stream, what that experience is going to be like, how we're going to invest in that versus how you're going to invest in the room?
Yeah. So that's been a conversation that we've been wrestling down over the past couple years, like 2 years, especially with our new broadcast build. Previously, our broadcast facility, which is our Oklahoma City campus, just one big giant room, just flat seating. And there's a lot of compromises, right? If you're trying to capture from there, but then also have a great experience in the room. For example, our pastor also likes to have a teleprompter. So that teleprompter needs to be somewhat close to the stage. And then right there, you kind of wipe out a lot of viewing angles further back in the room. Max capacity, I think seating is like around 2,800 of that room, I think, somewhere around there. So going into our new build, we've really been having those discussions of, okay, how can we prioritize the in the room experience, but then also create a great broadcast capture, because we know that there's going to be more people that are seeing this, that are outside the room, that are in the room. But how do we prioritize both? So we're actually in the process of wrestling that down as we're nailing down little details of the building and kind of finalizing the overall AVL package. But that's been a lot of conversations with leadership, just kind of going back and forth in a great way of like, okay, what are our priorities? What are the things that we really want to do from day one? What are the things that we can roll out in phases? What is going to be the big thing? So right now we're really focusing on getting the room right and then adding broadcast package later. So that's just our strategy right now. And we're not trying to compromise on that, but we would rather hold off and do things in phases if we don't have the money today, because we just want to be good stewards of all the dollars coming in, all the tithe dollars coming in. You know what I mean?
grandma's dollars.
Yep.
So give us, if you have some examples of, obviously, value engineering ductwork into socks might have been regrettable. Are there any experiences so far at People's where you're like, yeah, we value engineered that, we waited till end of life, and it actually ended up biting us because it failed at a key moment? Have you had some of those situations? And do you have, specific pieces or workflows and systems where you're like, I would suggest not value engineering this part, but maybe you can get away with this stuff instead?
Man, I don't think anything's really bitten us in the butt of like waiting too long on end of life. I think we're pretty communicative with our leadership on, hey, this might die tomorrow. Let's have a backup plan in place. So I don't think we've ever been in that position. I think my definite regret, we're one of the ones that definitely didn't get the name brand LED wall and felt that pain immediately. It took a long time to get things dialed in where it was usable. And then we did it in probably not the right order. We got the LED wall. We still had the 720 cameras.
And
so there was a lot of learning there.
Everybody talks about like, don't buy the Chinese LED wall, but they don't necessarily specify why. So tell us, like, what specifically did you immediately regret when getting that wall?
Yeah, we did not do I would say, due diligence with our cameras and processing that whole rollout of, man, how does everything integrate together? We kind of did that in isolation and definitely learned a lot there. And then plus the thing that most people don't realize is when you do an LED wall and it's the massive upstage, LED wall that every senior pastor wants nowadays, all the content that goes into thinking through for Sunday workflow of, man, how does this work together? Who's creating the content? Who does that fall on? How does the execution for Sunday look like? All those little details of, man, you think, oh, it's just another giant screen. And it's like, yes, but no, but yes, but no. There's a lot more things that go into it than that. And then not having, your lighting and your wall and your cameras work together, and be friends. Now you're just fighting a bunch of different battles, and you're just trying to get everything a little bit better for the next Sunday, everything a little bit better for the next Sunday. So that was a little bit of our experience. I want to say we've learned that lesson, but now we've got it looking at least somewhat decent, and it's been working well for us. So, there's that.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that would love to just clip that and send it to their pastor and say, I know you would love that giant wall behind you. I'd love to make it happen for you someday. But just thinking about, like you said, the complete package, the complete picture there. Just shout out our friends at Thor that they understand that because they put LED walls in churches all the time. That's what they're built for. And just the idea of how does this look on camera, that's a consideration. And knowing that your cameras and your LED wall and the content that has to go on there, Blake, the whole thing blows your mind.
Yeah, I mean, if Thor's doing this, like, is Loki, do they have a sub-brand for him? I mean, does his brother ever come in and do any, are those the ones to avoid? Because it's the mischief panels.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, do you smell something burning right now?
No. Are you having a seizure again, Blake?
It smells like something's burning in the warehouse anyways.
It's possible. Maybe they're soldering out there or somebody's cooking something in the microwave.
I know that one time an amp caught fire. Apparently you can get electrocuted and die. So
yes,
that's
you can.
why I'm not in the tech lab.
Yeah, production can kill you. So Eduardo, if you're going to value engineer, if you're going to end of life stuff, for you guys, and we know that you work with our friends at House Right, how important is it to have a trusted integration partner if you're going to squeeze the last drops out of all your gear, knowing that, hey, pastoral leadership, this might die next week?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that really is a plug for House Right. They've been great for us. They've been our main integrators here at People's Church. The ones kind of working on our broadcast campus and our remodel of another campus in Indianapolis. But really, just having people that are way smarter than you, that are in it all the time, being able to think through all the questions that you maybe not have thought through. And especially when we're a team of, 4 over here for 6 campuses, we don't have time to just dive into the weeds of all the little nuances of how this piece of hardware work with this piece of hardware, work with this piece of hardware. As much as some of our people would love to just geek out and spend all their time doing that, we still have teams that we need to lead. Sundays still come and the content still needs to be inputted. Rehearsals need to happen. So having a integrator that can really partner with you on what you're trying to accomplish, I think has been the biggest help for me. For some reason, I'm a 29-year-old that's entrusted to help build an AVL package for the next 10, 15 years of People's Church. And, I don't hold that lightly. And I know there's a bunch of things that I don't know. So making sure that I have people that I can, hey, what about this? What about this? We're thinking this. How would this work with this? Yeah. Have those types of conversations with has been huge. And then even some of them have become really close friends over the course of time. I would encourage anyone to find a really good trusted integrator that you can partner with, not only when you're doing a major remodel, but even for the small things in between. I would encourage that.
Yeah. House Rats are presenting sponsors, so we love those guys. Yeah. I'm curious, when you say a gear gets to the end of life, is it literally like we're going to run it till it dies mid-service? Or is it like, do you make a judgment call and retire it? Or is it a case-by-case basis? I mean, how often are you ever pushing something to literally die in service before it goes to the great beyond?
Honestly, pretty close. Like our cameras had like missing pixels in the middle and stuff like that. Like if you looked really close, like we were getting there on those sorts of things. Our PA, we swapped a couple things around, done some repairs on some boxes, have some spares on the side. So we get pretty close. I will say we're even bought the M7 from you guys, and had that in the back just ready to roll in next Sunday if something happened. So I would say we get pretty close, but most of the time it's a long conversation with leadership of, hey, here's where we're at on this. We could maybe push a little longer. Here are the risks, and then kind of make a collective decision there.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, if you approach leadership with creative decisions, you can say, hey, our mixer's getting near the end of life. What we really need is, let's say, $30,000. Let's say you guys are thinking a CL5 at the time and it was $30,000. You say, if we're not ready to do that, another option is we can buy a backup M7 for a couple grand, and this will probably help us get another year or two life left out of our console. And I think a lot of leaders just love having the options of knowing, okay, so you have a plan now. It's only going to cost us $2,000. And then hopefully, in a couple of years, we'll be ready for that $30,000 console again. I just think you win so many points with your leadership. Yeah. And it also it value engineers things so it lasts longer.
Toby, you're just saying that because people buy their patch consoles from us.
Okay. Yeah. You should buy them at churchgear.com.
There you go.
No, yeah, I think that builds trust with leadership, especially, being transparent on, hey, here's where we're at. Here's what we can do. Here's what I'd recommend for the future. Here's what that cost. However, we can do this in the meantime. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much how all those conversations go for us. And at least for me, in my experience, that's built trust, to where they can even be like, okay, what is our preferred future? Here's what I'd love to do. What within that space, how many dollars would we need to put aside to make that happen? Every single time that we've done that, we've built trust, and we've continued to push the ball forward. And then also been good stewards of what we did have, man. We use things to the max of their capabilities and beyond. And I'm kind of proud to say that.
And going back to the integrator thing, just really quick, it's like, an untrusted, any integrator out there will sell you anything you want. You want a Chinese LED wall? They'll sell it to you. But a trusted integrator is going to say, don't buy that wall. Like, it really takes a good partner to tell you not to buy something. And honestly, that can even be the sign of a good integrator partner, telling you not to buy something.
I would say that's a very good sign.
Yeah. Eduardo, you guys may value engineer. You're still a large church. You got 6 campuses. You guys are growing like crazy. Let's try and shrink some of this down for the 200 person church that says we have like very little budget for gear. What should they focus on first? If they don't have much budget, where should they start?
That's a great question. I think for me, I'd start by asking questions of like, what is important? What is important to you? What is like? I'd try and help them define their excellence of what they're going to use as excellence. So for some people, that may be I just don't want the mic to feedback. Great, cool. That can be achieved.
Yeah.
Some other people, other churches, it's something different. But I'd really try and help them define what excellence means for their organizations. And then my follow-up questions to that would be, do you have a defined system that creates consistent results toward that? So what is your developmental system there, and so forth? And then third thing would be, are you coaching consistently to meet those expectations? Or when they're not met. So it's just the development piece there of, most of the time I find that the churches that I talk to, even the ones that kind of ask that similar questions, like I have a call with a pastor later here today. And most of the time they have everything that they need. There's just a lack of development or skill, or something's not clicking there, or their lack of system or training or whatever it may be. So most of the time, churches have what they need. They just don't have a path to get the consistent results that they want to see, or to develop their people to get the consistent results that they want to see. So I'd probably break it down to that and try and help them identify how can they achieve what they want to achieve with what they have. So I'm that's kind of a cop-out answer, but that's probably where I'd be on 90% of the cases that I see.
Yeah. It's like, Blake, I tell you to make church gear the biggest brand in the world. And you're like, Toby, you gave me no budget. I'm like, you have everything you need. Just make it happen.
A person with an AI tool and half a fat roll, can go far.
But then we hired Brian to then develop and lead and help you prioritize. And so you can now execute because you have real systems into place and you don't have to deal with my crazy nonsense anymore.
Is leading what you call when he has the whip out and that was work?
Exactly.
Work, Blake.
Eduardo, I'm sure this happens that, you'll have volunteers, you'll have tech staff at your church. And, you said you're still running SC48s at a couple churches at a couple campuses. And so maybe they're thinking like, dude, I'm so tired of this old gear. When can we get something new? And you've got to coach them through it. You got to be, again, like, no, we're not getting a new board, but here's how I'm going to coach you on this. How do you do that with your people? How do you talk them through it?
Yeah, new gear is nice. And it's really easy to get excited about, when we got our new Yamaha consoles at our broadcast campus. That was something to be excited about, right? But most of the time, like if it's not near end of life or something like that for us, and the team's consistently talking about wanting new gear or something like that, it's typically that we're not focusing on the right thing. So I typically equate that to a breakdown in culture, and I take that and I look at that and I'm like extreme ownership here of like, okay, they're there because I haven't led this differently. So therefore I haven't been focusing on, why we do what we do, what's the most important thing right now, discovering, developing, deploying leaders, all the other things that would be, valuable in our organization that we put a lot of time and focus to, especially connecting the dots there for people of why we do what we do and how we do what we do. So typically if they're here, it's talking about, when we're going to get this or that, it's typically because there's a breakdown of not communicating the culture, of man, really, we're here to maximize what we have right now and create an environment that helps people encounter Christ. So, man, we have everything at our disposal right now. There's nothing keeping us from working toward that goal right now. So let's maximize what we have, and then celebrating the wins of what's going on currently at the campus. So typically, I've seen it when it's popped up like that. It's kind of a wake up call for me and even just my leadership of, I've kind of led that there where I've took my foot off the gas on the culture of why we do what we do. So that's what I would say to that. That's been my experience, at least.
I love that. I mean, everybody wants new gear. It's in our DNA. It's fine. It's okay to want new gear, but I love that, you're going to lead from culture. You're going to say, let's talk about the priorities, why we do what we do. Occasionally we're going to get new gear. That's going to be really exciting. We're going to celebrate that that's time. But, also remember that every place, every situation has pros and cons. You might look at another church and get a little gear envy, but there's a reason they have new gear. It's because they prioritize that over something else. There are pros and cons everywhere.
And they might not have a giant sock.
Definitely not.
Some people might call that sock a disaster, and some people would say it's a great value proposition, as Toby has said before. So what would be a disaster that's happened, an AVL disaster for us in your time, whether it's this church, whether it's a previous church you've been at, just everything went wrong. How did you solve it? How'd you address it with leadership afterwards if you had to?
Oh man, I have so many, especially being portable at the portable campus for the past 3 years. Man, we're out of a high school right now. So we're out of a high school right next to where we're building the campus. So it's literally right next to each other. I want to say it was last year or the year before. Oklahoma is famous for getting all these storms in May, April, all the tornadoes, all that type of stuff. So a giant storm came in on a Saturday night one time. And then Sunday, we get there and none of the lights work in the main auditorium. And we rely on all their lighting. It turns out the storm had taken down all their IT stuff. And then it's a school and it's all locked up and we weren't able to access anything. We're trying to reboot stuff as we can to try and get stuff to talk. Nothing at all. So we absolutely had like 2 house lights that were on stage a little bit, and then nothing else in the room. And so we're like, all right, what are we going to do? So I got my campus pastors together. I was like, hey, there's no way for us to get control of their lighting right now. And service is about to be in about an hour because we got to set up, we set up all our stuff. So we have a little bit of band wash and stuff like that. So we're brainstorming, we're thinking. I was like, well, there's some standing lamps and stuff like that in some of the classrooms and things. So we send like absolutely everyone out to scour the high school, grab all the standing lamps and anything that you could possibly find just so that we could light up like the back and the sides of the auditorium so that people could actually walk in and see their seats. It was very candlelight vibes in like May, June, but that's one of those, it happened. But at the end of the day, we still had church. People still gave their lives to Christ. And people still took next steps as well. So, God's building his church, and that's just one of the many stories of everything absolutely going wrong and portable on a Sunday morning. Another time during candlelight services, we were doing 3 days of candlelight at the school. And we have to bring in a generator to power all of our equipment because the school, when they renovated, they only put 3 20 amp outlets on stage. So that's all we have. So we have to bring in our whole generator. So we needed to gas up the diesel. And so we went to do that. And as we're coming back, for some reason, the leads off the generator fell and like got worn down by the asphalt, being dragged in the asphalt. So 30 minutes before service, we're splicing wire and trying to connect to the generator to get up and running for service. And we still had service on time. Like there's so many little stories like that at Portable. So if you've never done Portable before, I encourage you. It builds your faith, and amongst many other things, God's still going to build his church. So yeah.
Blake, have you ever heard of the show MacGyver?
I understand the concept.
Okay. I feel like techs, especially ones doing portable, like they're just all MacGyvers. Like here's a roll of toilet paper and duct tape and a clothespin, and you need to make an entire production system. They're like, okay, we'll figure it out.
My boring logistics question is, did you get all the right lamps back to the right classrooms?
Probably not, honestly.
There has to be some teachers that were like, Becky, that witch, I knew she was looking at my light and she stole it.
There weren't even enough at the school that we had to send people to like their homes and grab some. Honestly, there were people who were going down the street grabbing anything we could to light up the auditorium because it was like everything was pitch black dark except for like 2 little lights on stage. So there was no front wash or anything, and it was still incredible.
Oh Lord. Well, you kept Sundays running though, regardless of the lack of light. So, what's another tip for keeping Sundays running? We've got your first one, go steal all the lamps and hopefully return them. But what's another way you guys keep Sundays running?
Another way, this would be more just a tip that I never really did until I was a portable, but I always have a flashlight on you. I'm one of those random production people that never had a flashlight. I was always borrowing somebody's or something like that whenever I needed one. Never carried one on me until I did portable. And then that was the most valuable thing, probably every single Sunday, my watch and having a light.
Your phone wasn't working? You need something stronger?
Well, just being able to look like this. My phone's always going off, every 2 seconds with messages. So when I'm looking at time, trying to follow OOEs.
My phone went off when he said that. I'm not even.
Look at that. See?
Uncanny.
Toby, you're so popular. Oh my gosh.
It's a spam call. That's all I get.
On a Sunday, I'll probably have 100 missed messages.
Whoa.
Why? Who?
6
we just have a bunch of communication threads that I just still need to be on. So it's like at the end of the day, I'm going through and just seeing, okay, what happened here? What happened to this campus? Okay, cool. All right, this one. Okay, cool. So that's why I typically don't use my phone for time on Sundays. It's typically like an actual old school digital watch. Yeah.
If I ever open my phone and I have 100 messages, I'm chucking it. I'm chucking it right into the river, and I'm going to go live on a farm. Eduardo, we really appreciate you joining us, man, on the Church Gear podcast, hosted by or presented by House Right, which is your integrator. So some fun love there. Anywhere you want to point people towards? Anything you want to plug?
If you want to follow me on socials, I'm not too active on there, but recently one of our youth leaders has created a spam account for me. Apparently that's a thing, like a fan spam account. So you can find really funny childhood photos of me, if that's your thing. I don't know how many people that's a thing of.
The Epstein class doesn't listen to this podcast, Eduardo.
I think today was one of me in a cowboy hat. So but that one's, I think it's called Fans of Uncle Ed. So apparently I'm Unc now.
Uncle
now
Ed,
to the youth.
even though it's young photos of you.
It's the youth, man. The youths. I don't come up with these things. I'm Unc now. Apparently I'm too old.
You said you're 29
used to be
earlier?
cool at one point. I'm 29. Yeah. I'm pushing 30. So, the freshman of adulthood.
Bro, I will tell you, I turned 33 in a couple months, and my 11th grade guys at church, they started calling me Unc, I think 4 years ago. I mean, the moment you get close to 30, they're like, you're ancient.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So yeah, it happened overnight. I just woke up and they were like, yeah, you're Unc now. I was like, okay, cool.
Look,
and that was that.
Notice though, they only call people Unc that they like. They're never like Unc. They're like, what's up, Unc? So it's a term of endearment, which is why I've never said it to Toby. So
you call me Grandpa Toby.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, bro. I started.
Come on, Unc.
I shifted into what I say when we close the episode offline. No other way to end it. See you, man. Thanks for joining us.
See y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope to see you back next week for more absurd stories, tech takeaways, and overall buffoonery here at the Church Gear Studios.
All right, Blake, what speed do you listen to podcasts on typically?
Well, apparently my brain operates at .-05 because I can't even finish the episode.
That's true. I typically listen to my podcast at 1.5 to 2x because otherwise my brain thinks it's in slow motion.
Is that because you do that because you can't take meth anymore, so you're having withdrawals?
It's probably that. But I love, this is our second time now having a Puerto Rican on, and they speak so clearly and so quickly that there's no way I could listen to this with 1.5x.
Does this mean that really you just want everyone to be Puerto Rican? Because you love stuff that goes fast.
I love the spicy foods. I love the spicy people. I love the spicy talk.
Well, if you want to put some more spice in your life, then send this episode with our guest, Spicy, to a friend.